Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by myself, Vulcan, and Attack Power.
Hello everyone, super pumped to be back.
In this video we have for you game 1 of a best of 3 between Yamin and Farid Rommel in the semi-finals of the Division 1 Season 10 playoffs of the Star Division 2 League. Today they are playing on Orsha East, and on our left in the red team we have Yamin playing with the 15th Infantry and the Vanguard deployment type. And on our right in the blue team, also playing on the allied side, sorry guys, we have Farid Rommel using the 6th Airborne and the Vanguard deployment type. So Vanguard versus Vanguard matchup, double Commonwealth divisions. What do you think about this, Attack Power?
I mean, it's a matchup to be sure. Not only is it allies versus allies, which I know you're all excited about, it's Commonwealth versus Commonwealth. Like, we're not even mixing up the factions here. And then Vanguard versus Vanguard, which is honestly the worst part of it. I'm not a fan of mirror incomes because I just find it makes for more stale gameplay. But these two players are awesome, so I think we'll still see some really exciting stuff. 15th Scots at this point got a nice big buff by the time this game happened, so definitely more of a contender than it was before. It was one of the worst divisions. I think it's back into the sort of middle-ish of the pack. 6th Airborne, fallen from its high horse years ago, but it still can be a potent division if you can use those typhoons and everything well. And of course, their infantry can be quite dangerous if used properly. So should definitely be interesting. Churchills versus Tetrarchs. That's a hilarious matchup. So
yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's have a look at what's going down here for Yamin. On the top, we've got the Vickers HMG defense group and a Rifles PR. The one thing, nice thing about this game actually is they're all British units, so it's nice and easy to pronounce.
Yes.
We've got Assault Pioneers defense group, Daimlers, Vickers, Humber AAs, Rifles with Piettes. We got the Crusader AA in there as well. Rifles with Piettes, more Vickers, all sorts of juicy stuff. Further down, we've got the Daimler Assault Pioneers defense group, Sniper, Motorized Rifle, and Humber AA. Over on the side of Farid Rommel, at the top, we've got the Oxenbucks, the AB Scouts, the Air Landing, and the Tetrarch Little John. Further down, we've got some Airborne Piet squads with the Flamethrowers in there as well. Some more Air Landing, some Scouts, Oxenbucks, a couple of Tetrarchs. On the bottom side, we see some Flamethrowers, Vickers HMG, and the Piet. And on the very bottom, it's going to be Air Landing, Oxenbucks, Tetrarch, and the Vickers HMG. We also have the Mosquito coming out at the start, and I was talking to you about this before the game. Would we see a Napalm cheese out of 6th? I think you have to do it, right? You can't not do it in a 1v1.
Well, and this is one of the only napalm bombers in the game that things will actually die if they drive over this napalm. Like, they actually will die. I've experienced it myself and then been enraged by this occurrence. Yeah. The other thing to note, too, is that the 6th Airborne comes in CMPs, which are faster than the... oh, no, wait. Do they both have CMPs? They both have CMPs. Scratch that. I thought they were in Bedfords. Bedfords are really bad. CMPs are not.
Well, the Mosquito Napalm Strike didn't really do too much. It just kind of made Yamin deploy a bit early. We got a big engagement happening in the middle here, though. A lot of these AB Flamethrowers are getting very deep, but they're going to get surrendered. One of them, the AB Piet, they're not getting the shot off on the Humber AA. CMP actually going down as well. Yamin deployed, unloaded, I would say, a lot earlier than Farid Rommel. And that has cost Farid a lot of units across the map. You can see the Flamethrower on the bottom side getting surrendered, the Airborne Vickers going down as well. That is a very nice start here for Yamin.
Yeah, he blew out the center in the middle here. Farid losing a lot of troops. And this is kind of indicative of the Foxes style. This whole group of the Foxes all play super aggressive like this. They just throw stuff so far forward. And sometimes it really pays off, and other times it can really bite you in the butt. And it looks like here it might be biting him a little bit. Yeah.
We've got the Motorized Rifles taking a trip out of the bottom side and the M5 half-track, making sure that they don't lose out to the Oxenbucks and their landing. But Sniper's done a good job of pinning that down. Tetrarch's trying to do some work with its machine gun, but honestly not going to be doing too much. Daimler AC in the meantime gets the win on the Tetrarch in the middle. We've got more air landing coming in to try and save the day here. Interesting that he's bringing all of those air landing in with the 2 vet to make sure they get the most value out of them.
What's even weirder to me is that he used AB Scouts at the beginning. I mean, it's a 5-man squad with a single Bren. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use them. And they're not bad squads. They're nice little 5-man teams for only 20 points, but I mean, they're not winning the day anywhere, that's for sure.
Yeah, 420 points as well. Their value is questionable.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
a recon squad on its own, sure, you can maybe justify it, but in terms of like using them as combat squads, it's not really gonna match up to like even a standard rifle squad, right? Which is the same price.
Yeah, and I'm personally not a huge fan of the air landings either because they're only 7-man squads. They're just not chunky enough. They die off really quick, especially when you're fighting rifles Piat, which have the double Brens versus the single Bren. You know, all the Brens are bad, but having 2 is still better than having 1.
Well, the nice thing about 6th Airborne is that you do have a lot of free vet, I would say, because you get quite a decent amount of availability, and the vet is, I say free vet, it's more like you can vet without losing much availability, and the air landing is one of those units that you can kind of get away with that, and making use of it is quite important to get value from those squads, because as you say, they're not as well equipped as the rifles Piat with the double MG. But overall, you know, I would say, yeah, Yamin off to a great start here. I think Farid Rommel's going to be the one who needs to try and bring this back as he starts to bring in glider crew.
Yeah, he's pushing up north. He senses the weakness up north. The only thing stopping him are these couple of infantry squads and Vickers, and he's got some glider crews coming in to get those flags in the center. Though he does have, I mean, he's got that flag in the center. So as much as he's getting smacked around down south, he is making progress in the northern parts. So it's not all is lost here.
Yeah, I think the one thing that did work out for Farid is that his aggressive deployment has allowed him to hold on to this ground, and he managed to just about hold on to the mid houses without being pushed back. That's one thing about the 15th, is that they don't really have a very fast push. You know, that they're kind of slow and methodical, so they're not able to really punish the amount of kills that they got early on, like, you know, some of the Axis divisions would, for example, with all of their 20mm autocannons and such. So it's a lot slower in this game, and you can see that like the Crocodile is creeping in on the backside for Yamin, but as you mentioned on the top side, glider crew now arriving to try and take advantage of the little bit of a salient on the top.
Yeah, Tetrarch in the center takes out the Hummer AA, so that's some key kills. It's not a good AA piece, but it's still an AA piece. The Crusader AA almost gets caught up with the Tetrarch. That would have been huge. But Yamin making another push down south, using his Hummer AAs as essentially, you know, support guns for his other troops. Farid did re-lose that southern flag. He had held it for a little bit, but it looks like the Tetrarch got killed off somehow. That 6-pounder on the hill, most likely, was the culprit. Here comes the Mosquito again, but there's a Crusader AA. Will it be able to stop it? It does. Ooh.
A nice stop. It might even shoot it down, because that was flying directly into the Crusader AA, now flying over the Humber AA. The Humber AA, no, not going to do a ton of damage, but with the Crusader AA assist, not quite getting the job done.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Yamin getting that cool. Nice. Up north now, Yamin has lost... no, Farid has lost. I gotta get this right. Farid has lost this northern flag, but the Tetrarch Littlejohn uncontested right now. The unfortunate thing is all it's got are AP shells, so the only thing it's helping with is its little machine gun. More air landing coming in, so Farid trying to push that. Another Mosquito coming in, so he did call in 2 of those already. And here it comes. He will take out one of those Vickers.
Yeah, absolutely. In the mid, it seems like this Veterancy is actually winning Farid these engagements quite reliably, because it's just Brens versus Brens at this long distance. The Veterancy makes a big difference for accuracy over time, and so the chip damage is going in the favor of Farid, and he's actually getting some really good ground here in the center. AEC Mark III's on the bottom side trying to deal with the Tetrarch there, and will manage to take it out. I think Farid just trying to use these to hold the front line here for the time being, rather than actually make any serious gains.
Yeah, and it looks like Farid's about to grab... Yeah, he does grab this flag on the hill, getting a 1311. His napalm strike actually did miss the Vickers. That's a really impressive micro out of Yamin. That dude doesn't miss a thing. When you play him, it's infuriating how he never misses a micro moment, ever.
Lots of glider crew coming in onto the top side of this town. They will struggle to deal with the half-tracks though. The M5 half-tracks could actually present quite a big problem to a lot of this infantry without the support of Tetrarchs nearby. Of course you do have Piats, but the range and reliability of those is lacking, to say the least.
What? Wait, you're saying Piats aren't good? No, this is not possible. I refuse to believe it.
There's a reason that I have a Piat command in my Twitch chat where every time you miss.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the bonus of the Piat is that it's smacked onto a whole bunch of infantry for basically no cost, right? I mean, you're getting it a lot of times for almost free on infantry, that are barely being upcosted for. Like, these motorized rifles are 20 points and they have a Piat. That's how much a Panzerschreck would cost, and that only comes with 2 men. So, the cost of it is very cheap, but yes, of course, you're paying very little for it, and that's why it does very little.
Yeah, we got off map now being redeployed again in the center. On the top, the air landing did manage to get quite deep. One nice thing about the 6th Airborne units is, of course, they are airborne, so they do have the radar trait, which means if they do get caught behind the enemy lines, they're not going to suffer from the suppression penalty. But one thing that is happening here throughout the game at the moment is Yamin's bringing in all of these Churchills slowly but surely. The Churchill 6 has an AVRE, another Churchill 6 on the top side, and these are taking so long to get to the front line that the momentum is completely in Farid's favor, I would say, for the time being. But as soon as these Churchills start actually putting pressure on the front line, it's going to be very difficult for Farid to actually deal with these. And you can see these half-tracks actually putting in the work now again on the top side as the ABP just continues to miss its shots against the M5 half-tracks.
Yeah, in the center, the AEC took out one of the only remaining Tetrarchs. The 6-pounder is desperately trying to kill this Crocodile. It has no actual chance of penetrating it without APCR, but it can stress it out with how much stress it has on it currently. Yeah, it's actually going to be interesting to see how he deals with them, as you mentioned. I mean, the Typhoon AT plane could definitely, take a chunk out of these Churchills, but that's a lot of Churchills coming in.
Yeah, also Yamin's doubling down on his AA quite a lot. He has the Humber AAs hanging about. He's got the Crusader AAs in already. So he is ready to cover the abundance of Churchills that he's decided to use. But this is kind of dangerous on the top side here for Yamin, because Farid Rommel is getting into some really annoying positions, which is allowing him to control these flags quite well and keeping him ahead. 13-11.
Yeah, the thing is, though, 6th Airborne is going to really struggle with these open grounds. They don't have many tools, with his Air Force semi-shut down by AA. He doesn't have a lot of tools to fight off these Churchills and stuff. Does 6th Airborne, do they have 17-pounders or not?
I believe they do. And I think they also get, do they get challenges, right?
In C phase, correct. Yeah.
So there is going to be those sort of options later on, but I don't think they have them earlier. So that would be why, like, these Crocodiles are kind of difficult to deal with. The Churchills difficult to deal with. It's very reliant on the 6-pounder, potentially like the captured Pack 40 if you decide to bring that in. But we're going to be seeing a focus now on Cromwell 5s. They're going to have to look for the flank, for the most part, onto these Churchills if they want to deal with them. But meanwhile, on the top, the infantry is still making good ground.
Yeah, I mean, what I think he's calling these Cromwells actually primarily to kill off this light vehicles that are absolutely shredding him. Like, we look in the middle of this Hummer AA, these AECs, the half-tracks are just eating his infantry up. It's actually quite bad. He needs to chop these down a little bit. The Cromwells, the Churchills and stuff, they can sit around for a while. They're not getting anywhere soon. It's these light units that are really causing him a lot of trouble.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. The Cromwell will hopefully be able to deal with the AACs, although the AAC, they're getting a penetration onto the Cromwell. Might be able to trade one of those. Never mind. The Cromwell actually landing both shots there, which was very nice indeed, especially considering the second shot there was stressed. That would have been a relatively low chance of hitting. Air landing do actually manage to kill the Humber AA in the center early on. Well, even though they were like really pinned. Another nice kill.
Farid getting some RNGesus love there for a little bit. Up north, he is getting into the forest. Although those assault pioneers and field engineers, they'll definitely start doing some damage. It's interesting you brought him in the carrier CMD. It's just a little 5-point thing with a Bren, which, once again, light armor will just be really annoying to deal with. especially when you're playing someone like Yamin, who just somehow is magically moving all of it at once.
Yeah, and they're good for holding the front line and getting the extra suppression onto units. So like these glider crew, for example, are great targets for the carrier commands because the Bren can do a little bit of extra suppression than it normally would.
Yeah, and even this Oxenbuck's getting caught out here by the carrier. I mean, the Bren machine gun does so little suppression. It's kind of funny how little it does. I didn't realize how small it was. Churchill 6 in position, fighting that 6-pounder. At this range, the 6-pounder is going to really struggle, and this Typhoon's probably going to end all those dreams anyway. Mosquito floating around up there. I just saw it all the way past the map. 6-pounder down. Mosquito, I thought maybe he was going for the head-on, but it looks like he's bailing on that. Ooh, that was ugly.
He's going to be really, really careful with that engagement. The Typhoon probably won't get back in time because that Mosquito is pretty quick, but the Churchill 6 actually got bailed out by the second 6-pounder. Unless it was the first 6-pounder that got the shot just before it died. But the strafing run now coming in. Oh, that's a lot of damage out of those 20 mils.
It's easy to forget how strong Typhoons are because we see them in so few divisions. That they are one of the best planes in the game when it really comes down to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Those and the Tempests, both very, very scary aircraft to deal with. We're going to be seeing that 6-pounder most likely get killed off, indeed. And now Yamin's trying to get back into this top side, clear out the landing, which will struggle against the field engineers, because the field engineers do have those TNT.
Yeah, and in the center here, Yamin's done a great job of breaking down Farid's forces. All he's got left here is a couple glider crews, an AB engineer, and that's about it. He's got some Damlers running in here to try to save the day. This Typhoon continues to strafe. It's rare to see 6th Airborne on its back heels versus the air, but we are seeing it here. Crocodile down south takes a penetration from the 6-pounder from the side. Centaurs and Cromwell's trying to hold off any further pushes, but it doesn't look like Farid has any intention of moving back into these positions.
Yeah, it seems like Farid's really not wanting to play around the bottom side from now on. It's going to be kind of difficult for him to push back in there anyway, especially with Yamin having 2 6-pounders up on this ridge. He's got all of the MGs spread out as well, another 6-pounder on the bottom side as well. He might be able to sneak the bot side flag here where the defense group are, but otherwise I think Farid has his hands full with Yamin's aggression in the center and push back on the top side.
Yeah, definitely. We see a half-track go down in the center of Daimler, doing what it needs to do here, clearing out some of this light armor. Issue is it takes 2 shots from that Little John to actually kill these things. It does get them off. It's very fast-firing, but it's just a little bit more time, and Yamin currently on a 15-9, about to go back to a 14-10, so both players still neck and neck here. Neither on getting a huge advantage in tickets, but definitely feeling a little bit of the weight of Yamin coming down here on Farid. He's got to start training a little bit more efficiently to close that gap.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the name of the game right now. Is the trading between these two players. We are Vanguard versus Vanguard after all. So, they're not going to be able to find any more advantage from their income throughout this game.
AVRE in the middle, taking a shot. There it goes. Boom. All right, you just don't want to miss those beautiful moments. That thing shoots maybe once every 400 games, so that's exciting.
True. Yeah, putting it like that, you're probably absolutely right. And then we don't see the AVRE very often in 1v1, and it's beautiful there to see it used fire positioning in between those buildings to knock those infantry out. Lovely stuff indeed.
Not only do we actually see one called in, we actually saw it shoot, which is, yeah, all the notice it's were like half towards the end of C phase by the time it finally got to the map and like had an opportunity to get to position. Up north, 6-pounder trying to clear out some of these carriers, which are proving as obnoxious as we imagined they would. He needs to make sure he turns off the APCR before he starts shooting them with APCR, which would be a complete waste. Yeah, there are more coming in.
This bottom side, the Canadian Para has actually got further up than I expected they would across the open. I think it's just mainly because the Centaurs there are kind of scary for the 6-pounders to peek. So the Canadian Paras managed to take advantage of that kind of gap in the defense to get forwards. Now the Achilles, though, getting a shot onto the Centaur and cleaning out these Centaurs would be huge for Yamin, because they are one of the best 2,000 meter range HE that Farid has. So removing those will definitely hamper his division.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look like Farid's noticed right now because his troops are taking a lot of hits and they're not going anywhere. There we go. Now he's noticed. He's trying to fall him back, at least out of the range of the 6-pounder. Rommel falling back as well. Down south, the Canadian pair is getting chopped up a little bit. They have some troops to push through, but they are making progress. The rifles Piat won't be super strong in the forest. He's not as strong as those paras. In the center here, we see the AVRE doing some machine gun firing. It's not going to fire its big gun at the moment. The Cromwell has, I don't think, any chance to kill that, right? Yeah, no chance at all. Definitely no chance.
Yeah, on this bottom side, the Canadian paras are actually pretty effective in this situation because they do have those Willy Petes, of course, which are equivalent of Molotovs. So they can push out these assault pioneers and the rifles of Piat at close range quite well. They do have the submachine gun advantage there. Achilles still looking for shots onto the center on the bottom side in the meantime. Meanwhile, on the top, Yamin's getting away with just chilling with this ouster. It's like providing so much recon right now for him. It's very nice.
Yeah, we do see a tri-pulse thing coming in, so that should end very soon. But that's the only AA here for Farid. I mean, he's on the back foot. I understand why he hasn't called in more. Down south, he is clearing out the 6-pounders out of that forest. Those are some nice kills. Those 6-pounders definitely an issue. The AEC out of HE shells, so its dangerousness is significantly reduced. That 6-pounder is going to go down, so some nice kills there. Clearing that out. Another AVRE from Yamin. I'm impressed. Let me just say it. I'm impressed. Did the AVRE in the center die? Oh my god, I think it did.
Oh no! He must have died to the grenadiers, right, with the Gammon bomb. Because the air landing still has maximum ammo, and I think the grenadiers ought to just come in with the 3 Gammon bombs, right?
Well, we saw the one shot we'll probably ever see out of an AVRE. That was exciting stuff.
We might get one in the bottom side. Once the AVRE takes folks. 20 minutes to get to the front line.
Gets within, it's 500 meters, right? Yeah, gets within 500 meters of a target. Sure, let's do it. Over this open ground. I'm sure we'll see it for sure.
It might kill the Canadian paras in the cover, right? It can fire into the light cover.
Yeah, it could. I will say the Centaur just took out another 6-pounder. All the 6-pounders have been killed off. That's actually a pretty big deal.
On this bottom side, I've been slowly watching the Centaur here pick off the 6-pounders. There was like 2 up on that ridge. They've both been taken out. The Canadian paras getting into the trees, as you mentioned, took out the 6-pounder there. So he is starting to break this down, but getting through the crocodile is going to be incredibly difficult. We still have Churchill 7s to worry about as well. A couple of those coming in on the top side, in fact, with that 150 millimeters of frontal armor. There is not very much in the 6th Airborne deck that can deal with that.
No, and then you pair in these Achilles that are starting to come in greater and greater numbers, and he's getting boxed out with the 2K range stuff, which is odd to see on Orsha East. Usually it's a little bit more of a 1,500 meter brawly sort of map, but here we're seeing Yamin really effectively set up some 2K stuff that Farid's division is not set up to push through.
Yeah, maybe that was I don't know if Yamin second picked, but honestly, I could see like 15th being almost a counterpick to 6th because it's basically the same division but with better stuff, right?
Well, better 2K assets at least, right? Worse CQC but better 2K stuff.
That just can't be dealt with by the 6th, although I say that as I watch a 6-pounder kill a Churchill 5. But hey, these things happen.
What do you know?
What do I know indeed, yeah. Achilles trying to get one back on that 6-pounder as it is struggling to retreat through those buildings.
Oh, and if you guys like watching us be totally wrong about facts we think we know, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to both channels. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Managed to sneak that one in there, I see. Oh, tasty little snipe there, 6-pounder. Thanks, engineer unit, AB engineer.
And truthfully, if they're still here, they're real fans. They're doing it.
They are real fans, true fans of the Steel Division, competitive scene, and our channels, I'm sure.
A beautiful thing to be sure. Up north, Churchill 7 now in position. This 6-pounder doing its hero thing, and unfortunately going to fail terribly at that because it cannot penetrate these.
Yeah, it's gonna get out of dodge, and will do. And now the airborne engineer is going to be the next target of that. That poor Churchill 6 there. Do you reckon he's ever going to fix that up? It's just sat there bailed out for the whole game.
You know, with how long it takes for these Churchills to get to the front line, you may have more incentive in this division than usual, but I doubt it.
Yeah, let's see if a supply vehicle comes in later on, if they're even in the deck. Yamin's rifles are now 3 vet in the middle, which is very nice, and they're doing a lot of damage to these airborne engineers. Veterancy in mirror matches is so important. It really, really is, and I think in this case, it's definitely been shown.
Oh, absolutely. This is giving me flashbacks to the good old days of the rifle spam out of 3rd Canadian stuff, where you get everything triple vetted and just send 1 billion rifles forward. You remember those days?
I try to forget.
It was terrible. It was a dark time. It was a dark, dark time.
The Canadian off-map meta with rifle spam. Yeah. Let's not talk about that. 6-pounder does take out the Cromwell 5. Rifles moving in here might be able to take care of the airborne engineer, although the airborne engineer is like hiding behind the building, and it's going to lob a TNT over. Or not. Never mind. Didn't quite get there, and now it falls back.
I was going to be so cheeky, and now he'll die. Down south, the AB Canadian pairs are out of Willy Pete's, so they have no way to stop these rifles or rifles Piat anymore. Just going to be overwhelmed in numbers, and he's probably going to lose that flag down south really soon. Farid, though, somehow still only at a 13-11. It just doesn't feel like Yamin's being ultra aggressive. He doesn't have to be. He's trading very well, so why push harder, right?
Yeah. Yamin's just been trading easy peasy throughout the game, like just kind of taking it easy. And the other thing, as I mentioned already, is that the 15th is so slow to push. Like it just is because of the Churchills. Now 17-pounder actually getting shots onto the Churchill 7. We're going to see Typhoon versus Mosquito. Yamin does not want to take the head on there because those Mosquitoes do have 20 mil cannons in the nose, which can be pretty scary, and he's definitely prioritizing the kill onto the 17-pounder, so that's a good kill there.
Yeah, that's a big loss. I can't imagine he has a whole host of those. And at this point in the game, with their income being only 90 a tick, that 17-pounder is a whole tick of income, basically.
Yep, another one coming in on the bottom side. It's going to be trying to get some hits in. But, I mean, even the 17-pounder, like a maximum range, is going to struggle to penetrate these Churchills. Oh, yeah. So it needs to get a bit closer. And that's not necessarily a place that he can be. Depending on how many Churchill 5s are left on the field, although I think the ones on the bottom side have died. So.
Yeah, and by the way, you were wondering, there is a supply here for this Churchill 6. It has been revived. It has returned to the fight.
There we go. Beautiful. Yamin caring about his Churchills in this game. Very nice.
Now Yamin is now on a 15-9, pushing Farid back. Finally actually really getting a flag bonus here. Down south, the Canadian pair is probably going to be overwhelmed by the combination of these carriers. Oh, wait, the AVRE is firing. Dun, 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 dun. It did it! I think it's going to miss.
No, it's going to hit it. Oh, yeah, he fire positioned it to the side, didn't he, to get the suppression. Yeah, it's good to see it fire, as you said before.
It's just good. I just hope he just shoots random places on the map. And gets this go boom.
The Crusader AA helping nicely further up on the hill. Yeah, the 15-9 is pretty significant now. That's very good. I tell you one thing. Yamin is going to want to repair this transmission damage on this Churchill 7, because that thing is currently moving at probably like 10 kilometers per hour. Like literally. It's like so slow.
Yeah, I think the infantry are outracing it. Up north, sure, the field engineers coming in and the carriers. And again, he just doesn't have a way to kill these. He doesn't even have any infantry with Piats up here. It's literally glider crews, engineers, the leader with a Willy Pete. A very awkward lineup of troops there.
Yeah, another thing that's kind of difficult in this matchup is availability. I think 15 Scots is just going to have generally more availability of thicker squads throughout the game. Especially if Farid was relying on more veterancy earlier on, which he was, and we saw. So like this rifle spam late game is going to be pretty obnoxious. 17-pounder on the top side is getting shots onto the Churchill 5. If he manages to get the kill there before being killed by the Churchill 5, then that would be a pretty good trade, and then he can work on killing the rest of the Churchills here.
Yeah, there he goes. Now, if this field engineer gets in close, so that's going to be an issue. Yamin pushing it right in. The 17-pounder is falling back. He does see that tripulse, and what will that be able to do? Let's see.
Should
even
rip
get a shot
the
off.
carrier. And if not, the field engineers will die very quick.
There you go.
So, kind of covered it off. Not too bad. The 17-pounder, okay, gets out of line of sight. Mosquito, oh, is going to go down to the Crusader AA, though, in the center. So, another asset lost for Farid. And he is looking very, very weak on the front line right now as Yamin brings in an off-map in the center.
Yes, his line is thin, to say the least. Yamin having not a lot of trouble just kind of driving troops through deep there in the center. That rifle's P out there. These infantry are going to get... They're going to be hurt by this off-map, that is for sure. Unless he canceled it? Did he cancel it? Because I feel like it should be coming down. Nope, there it is.
There
okay.
it is, yeah.
Yeah. That was a long time after the time. Oh, he took the, like... This does not look like fire for effect.
It's emergency, yeah. So, it's nice and spread out. Just going to be trying to use it to pin down as much of this infantry as possible. And the rifles with that 3 vet slowly but surely moving forwards, doing a lot of damage actually to these airborne powders in these engagements. Oh,
is it just me, or does it feel like there's a bigger difference between 3 and 2 vet than like 1 and 2? I don't know. Yeah,
because every extra vet you have gives you better base accuracy, right? So if you start at a higher veterancy already, then you just get more advantage because you pin down your opponent faster. So it's just it basically, yeah.
But I mean, like, the increase from 1 vet to 2 vet feels like a smaller increase than the increase from 2 vet to 3 vet. Even though it should be equal. I don't know.
I think anyway, I don't know. I don't think so. To be honest,
I don't think so. I don't think it's supposed to be, but it just feels like 3-star units feel so.
But as I mentioned, it's just because the more accuracy base you have when you start firing, the faster and more accurate you'll be quicker, right? So it does kind of speed up the effect, which is why it feels better.
Yeah, it's true. Down south, AVRE firing into a random spot in the ground. I guess Yamin feels the same way we do. Just wants to see that thing shooting.
I think he saw the Canadian Paras coming in and wanted to blast the road.
Oh, he canceled it. That's so bummer.
He'll have a good chance to use it though. As those Canadian Paras come closer, he can definitely utilize the light cover here to maybe get a shot off. Although the AVRE maybe not quite in the right position because the line of sight would put him in front of the 17-pounder. 2-inch mortar carriers, meanwhile, trying to get to this bottom side to help with the Canadian Paras there. But Rommel building up a few forces across the map. I'm surprised he's got this much availability coming in. Like lots more AV Paras now coming in on the top side, for example. Definitely going to help him out quite a bit.
Yeah, up north, the 17-pounder did a lot of damage, but it looks like he's about to lose it to the rifles if they can stay on it. That'll be a big loss. He did kill a lot of the armor off, but there's 1 damaged Churchill 7. There is supply around, so that can be revived. The Tri-Polston, we saw how good it is against infantry, but against 3 squads, it is going to struggle a fair bit. I think it's going to go down here to this massive infantry. In the center, Rifles P trying to get forward. Here comes the Typhoon. Nice little bombing strike here. Will basically take out that AB Paras. Tri-Polston does go down here to the Rifles. That is a pretty big loss because now there's no AA at all.
Yep. Yamin can get another one of those recon planes up. Just have it hover about, which will be nice. On the bottom side, the Canadian Paras that did manage to get into the tree line, swiftly taken care of. But he did manage to claim back a flag here, so we're back to 13-11. But nice off-map placement on this top side is going to potentially do a lot of damage. I think he did.
So yeah, the northern position.
Again.
Yeah, that's an odd choice in my opinion. I don't know. It feels so ineffective when you do it that way.
Oh, nice Piat hit there from the rifle with Piat onto the Centaur. Takes out that. Another good kill for Yamin. Yamin now bringing in 2 Churchill 5s on the top side. That's scary for Farid to deal with for sure. We got the Mosquito coming in though for the bombing strike onto the Achilles, and since it's open top, that thing will actually do quite a lot of damage to that tank.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see... Yeah, it killed it. Very nice. I'm surprised to see that the only air stuff Fair's brought in has been mosquitoes. It just seems kind of...
That's true, actually.
Yeah, it seems kind of lame. I don't know, for 6th Airborne only bringing in just mosquitoes, which, I mean, are solid planes, but are not what I would consider the highlight of this division.
Yeah, you've of course got Tempest, you got Typhoon ATs, like...
Yeah, you got stuff. Especially the AT planes, like, he could have really used those a lot.
Yeah, for sure. 17-pounder, though, taking care of the Churchill 5 on the bottom side that was sitting on top of the hill next to the Crocodile. So that's not too bad. He is finding kills back, it's just... kind of like the game just has felt inevitable almost for a little while. I don't know if you agree, but it feels like the 15th Scots is just not really going anywhere anytime soon, you know. As much as Farid Rommel tries to take back ground, it's just going to bump into more and more infantry out of the out of Yamin here, and more Churchills as well.
Yeah, once 15 Scots gets to its positions, it kind of just sits on those positions. It's really hard to dislodge them. And again, when you're playing against a player like Yamin, it often ends up feeling this way. Like, it just feels like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I feel like with the 6th, it's very much a division that even in like a normal, like not Commonwealth matchup, relies very heavily on its early game. And a Vanguard deployment type, I think, makes sense for a 6th. For Yamin with the 15th, I don't think he necessarily had to go with a Vanguard, but probably just matched income because he knew that he could outtrade in the long run, and his infantry or his options in his division were just generally going to outtrade his opponents over time. So he's quite happy to just play the slow game and bleed out Farid over time.
Yeah, I have to imagine that was definitely his thought process on this. And remember, there's a 50-minute time limit. There's only 15 minutes left. So even if Farid's able to bring it back to a 12-12, he would then absolutely need a double tick to close this gap in the time he has remaining.
Yeah, for sure, because Yamin's now sitting on a crazy amount higher tickets. Oh, nice rifle with Piat.
Piat did it. It did it.
Taking out the Cromwell 5. It's always fun to watch a Piat actually hit its mark.
When it's your Piat, yes. Yes, when it's your Piat, it feels great. When it's the opponent's Piat, you feel like everything in the world hates you.
So they only have, what, base 50% accuracy rate? And then if you're a little bit stressed, then it's like even worse. It's not great. Well,
no, it's quite bad.
Commander in the middle has been spotted by the Daimler Littlejohn. The Littlejohn's going for a little bit of a ride here. Might find the AOP carrier, although I think that's used up both of its strikes already, so not the end of the world.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like Rommel has noticed that he's noticed the commander because he's just driving right by it. No, I mean, this Daimler's going to really, like, it's going to take quite a while for him to kill it, but it's going to get away anyway. Not that the effect would be minute at this point. Crocodile down south getting found by the 17-pounder. Will that 17-pounder be able to do that? It's pretty... Is it close? Yeah, it's pretty close.
Range, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it has bounced 2 times already, and the Crocodile, despite its abhorrently slow speed, is getting away. The AB pairs do not have AT. Oh, yes, they do. They have AT. So go, drive, boy, drive.
It's going to try and unload a position right close to it, but will the Crocodile use its flamethrower, maybe? Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's not often you see that either.
So, yeah, we've seen some firsts here.
We're getting spoiled with this game. We're getting Crocodile flamethrower fire. We've got AVREs using a spigot mortar. I mean, it's just... this game's wild, guys. It's wild.
This is Commonwealth tea time right here.
Absolutely. Oh, 3 vet rifles of Piat versus unvet 80 powers. It is disgusting how poorly they're going to trade in this situation. That road is just covered with blown up CMP trucks and Tetrarchs and Churchills. That is actually crazy.
Yeah, and that's again with the whole Fox clan, their hyper aggressive style. it really suffers when they get behind because they just keep throwing troops at things. And we all know from playing this game plenty of times that oftentimes does not produce the desired effect.
The thing is, at the moment, I feel like Farid has somewhat broken down a lot of the infantry that Yamin has had on the map, and he hasn't really, like, Yamin hasn't really been replacing it. So in those areas, like on the top side, for example, and starting to appear on the hill and on the bottom side of the hill, there is a rather sizable infantry numbers advantage going on now.
Yeah, I mean, Farid has definitely kept some infantry in his pocket. There's no doubt about that. He's calling them in 3s, 4s, and 5s, and it's very possible it's actually Yamin who's kind of run out of infantry because he's calling in piles of Churchills and stuff instead of any sort of infantry.
Yeah, and the 25-pounder as well, which I don't really see its effectiveness at this point, but sure. Another 6-pounder going to be getting killed off on the bottom side of the hill. The 17-pounder also took out the Crocodile finally. We have the Ulster in once again to provide recon. Although Typhoon coming in for the Mosquito on the top. Will it be able to get on its tail? The Mosquito pretty fast, but the Typhoon just as quick. Gonna be close.
Is this the fastest plane in the game? 640 kilometers an hour?
I think that is a Tempest faster. I think the Tempest might be faster.
I thought it was 630. At least the one we saw with the bombs is 630. So maybe the fighter variant is faster.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But the Typhoon is very quick, and the LA-5 is also very fast.
Now, down south, the 17-pounder taking out all of that light armor that was pushing forward. Fortunately, still hasn't recaptured this flag. Farid currently at a 13-11. Now, the weird thing is because they actually put the time limit on, the game won't show you the time remaining because it's determined that Farid can't win within the time it has left at the moment. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, so the rules of the Steel Division League are different to that of the rules
than the rules of the
game.
Yeah.
So if it ended at this point, the game would say it's a draw, but that's not how we work in the Steel Division League. It's based off tickets. So
it's because we have good rules.
Yeah, I think the rules of the league are better. Rifles of Pierre not getting close enough to kill the Cromwell 5, but the Achilles getting shots on target at least.
Yeah, and up north, though, the 17-pounder took out 2 of those Churchills. There were 3 up here before, down to the 1 Churchill 7, so it really was effective. That sniper, though, might ruin its dreams of heroism here. Down south, flag recaptured here by Yamin. Centaur's down, it goes in the center, so yeah, a lot of this armor, really key remaining armor here for Farid being lost. We do see more infantry coming. He clearly bought like a B phase of field engineers, so you get 18 of them in these little carriers.
Yeah, for sure. On this top side, losing both those Churchill 5s is very strange. Like, the Churchill 5s in this game have really not done very well. We've seen a couple die on the bottom side to the AT guns at range. We saw the ones on the top side, again, die at range. But going back to what we were saying earlier about the air disparity here, Yamin, again, still making good use of his Typhoons, whilst we're not really seeing any particularly good airplay out of Farid, other than potentially some of the Mosquito strikes. But yeah, it's just very, very strange in this matchup to see it work out this way.
Yeah, Cromwell 5 backing off that Rifles Piat, definitely the correct choice there. Back to a 13 level for Yamin. Here comes a bunch of rifles. I guess Yamin just wasn't calling infantry in. He's clearly got some left still.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, because he was just buying other stuff, and he definitely, like, I can't imagine that the 15th runs out of infantry before the 6th does, especially considering Farid was vetting his infantry quite substantially.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. It's easy to forget they only have 90 points a tick, so there's only so much you can do with that. You know, at the end of the day, this Typhoon just flying around uncontested and no AA coming, so it's going to continue to fly around. Although we probably won't see a second one because, again, these are 140 points. These are more expensive than most heavy bombers, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I was thinking maybe we're not seeing that out of Farid, right, is because it's expensive to rely on the Tempests. Oh, yeah. It really, really is. So you have to get a lot of value out of the game with them, and at this point in the game, like, that's not going to be worth it.
Oh
But
yeah, no.
Farid really trying to hold on to this 12-12. Like, surely, I don't know if he thinks that he can break a 15-9. I think you maybe even need a triple tick to
Oh yeah.
win in time. But it's very a persistent gameplay here from Farid, and these poor Airborne being thrown into the meat grinder continuously from this point.
I mean, I respect a guy who doesn't quit until the game says he's dead, but yeah, there is, I mean, part of the advantage of the 50-minute time limit rules and stuff is like, there's a point where time to, it's over, you can't turn it around anymore.
Yeah.
But he's going to hold on. 40 seconds left for him there. His blobs of AB Paras trying to make some progress here. They're not good. They're too close. They're too bunched up. The problem here is anytime a machine gun fires at these, they'll all get suppressed. You want to make sure you spread your infantry out a little bit more than this, because also any bomber will just bloop, delete, and they're all gone.
Yeah.
Here comes a Cromwell 5 racing across the open up north, and AB Paras coming in like, yeah, Farid ain't going down.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
refuses.
He is just pushing for all these flags. He's going to find a 15-9 if this Cromwell moves south a little bit, but Churchill 7's ready and waiting to potentially stop that. AB Paras are going to be able to get their Gammon bomb onto the carrier command, so take that out. And yeah, we are going to be seeing a 15-9, but as you can see briefly, the game confirming that there would not be enough tickets for Farid to get a win in that time. So 6 minutes left on the clock. AB Paras pushing forwards into these rifles that are nice and vet. I like that Yamin's did a good job of keeping his leaders alive here so that he can benefit from that veterancy throughout the game, because in these later phases veterancy is even more important, because you can really get a lot of value out of the singular units.
Well, you have so few of them. You
Exactly.
did see a really interesting crit on the plane. It was wing ripped off. I don't remember seeing that critical anytime recently.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
potential.
It's just a nice little bit of, yeah, it's just a little bit of flavor that I do love about Steel Division 2.
Well, 14-10. I think Farid maybe smells blood a little bit, but Yamin just purchasing in more Churchills.
Yeah,
it's funny watching the Churchills coming at this point, because you wonder if they ever reach the front line in time.
Yeah, they won't. The answer is no. It is an odd choice to call those in. 6th AB. Oh, we can't say that. we're YouTube monetized these days, but I guess Farid is unhappy with his divisional choice.
I don't know why he chose it.
I mean, there are so many other divisions you can pick.
Yeah.
Over that one. Yeah, 45 minutes, 5 seconds here in Orsha Eats. Yamin takes game 1 of this best of 3 semifinal. The trades, not surprising. 4,740 for Yamin and 3,960 for Farid. So about a 800 point discrepancy there. It was pretty clear on map when you were looking at it there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the disparity was even more in the mid game, and it was absolutely huge at one point. There were so many units on the map for Yamin, and absolutely nothing left for Farid. You can see like the value out of the rifles with Piats, especially with the veterancy, like the 3 vet rifles, just trading 2 for 1 and much more in some cases. The Typhoon got loads of value throughout that game. That was really nicely done. I think honestly, Yamin probably would have put more into the aircraft if he'd expected Farid to not do the same. I would like up against the 6th Airborne. You kind of always expect the strong airplay, and
yeah, you expect planes,
and then like high vet infantry, like with a strong punch early on. But we saw like the ground play, but we didn't really see the airplay, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, I have to agree. One quick call out for the kills deaths that's really important. The AVRE with 4 infantry kills. This might be the most successful AVRE I've ever seen in my life. So that's exciting to be sure. It actually got usage. You see some 6-pounders, a Centaur over for Farid here did some nice work. That was the one that cleared out the south. 17-pounder up north that cleared out all kinds of fun goodies up there. Oh no, wait, that one was down south. I think the next 17-pounder was up north. Yeah, I mean, in a game that's 45 minutes long, you're going to see some units with a lot of kills. But yeah, 6th Airborne, an odd, just an odd choice. I think just a very strange choice.
I mean, Commonwealth versus Commonwealth, extremely strange. Seeing AVREs get killed, wild. Crocodiles using their flamethrowers, like, what's going on?
Yeah, and I would say probably the bottom tier Commonwealth divisions, right? I think we can all agree these are probably the two, of the 4 of them, that these are definitely the worst two. 8th Infantry, 8th Indian, and 2nd New Zealand being much more solid than these two divisions. So just kind of surprising that they decided that these were the two divisions they wanted to match up in this game.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, it's some exciting gameplay, slow and ponderous gameplay, but exciting nonetheless.
All right, I will leave it there. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this first game of a best of 3. Congrats to Yamin for taking it. We'll have to see if Farid can bring one back in the next game. That's it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
See you later.